So today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to tear apart what seems like a totally ordinary website for a local plumbing company. But hiding just below the surface is something, well, it's kind of weird, and it tells a huge story about how the internet really works. Let's dive in. Okay, so right off the bat, check out the title of the website. It says Emergency Plumbing, Plumber Near Me, Service, HVAC. It just keeps going. Plumbing services 24/7. I mean, it doesn't even sound like a company name, right? It sounds like someone just smashed a bunch of Google search terms together. And that right there is the big question. What is going on here? It just feels like chaos, almost like a mistake. But I promise you, there is a very, very smart reason for all this madness. And to figure it out, we've got to take this whole site apart, piece by piece. All right, first things first, let's just try to figure out what this business actually does. And well, it turns out the answer is pretty much everything. I mean, the list of services is just staggering. You've got your standard stuff, of course, like toilet and pipe repair, but then it just keeps going. Hydrojetting, water damage restoration, full-blown heating and air conditioning, gas lines, they even list medical and laboratory plumbing. And just to top it all off, handyman services. It's like they never wanted to say no to a potential customer. And it's not just the services. Look at the products. The detail here is just wild. They don't just say they sell sump pumps. No, they list Zoller sump pumps. They don't just do smart thermostats. They name drop Honeywell, Nest, and Aprilaire. It's like they sat down and created a catalog of every single branded product you could ever possibly search for. Okay, so they offer every service and every product you can imagine. The next logical question is, where do they do all this stuff? And you guessed it, their answer is just as specific and just as long. The website has this enormous list of towns, all suburbs around Chicago. You've got Wilmette, Winnetka, Glenview, Highland Park, the list goes on and on. This is a super clear signal both to you and to search engines that says, hey, if you live in one of these places and need a plumber, we're your guys. It's incredibly hyper-local. So far, everything's a little aggressive, maybe, but it kind of makes sense from a business standpoint. But this is where things take a really strange turn, because buried deep inside all the plumbing talk, we found something that has absolutely nothing to do with plumbing. Okay, this is where it gets bizarre. You'd think a page about burst pipes would talk about burst pipes, but no. Instead, you get a history lesson on the North Shore Channel from 1909. Instead of drain cleaning tips, you're reading about the CTA train line extension from 1912. Seriously, what is going on? Why is a plumber writing a history blog? And we're not just talking about a quick mention here. This website has a legitimate, detailed history of the village of Wilmette. It talks about the public library, the park district, the massive engineering project that created the harbor, even the arrival of the train. It's this incredibly thorough history lesson sitting right next to a button that says, request a quote for a new sump pump. All right, it's time to put all the pieces together. We've got the keyword-crammed title, the never-ending list of services and towns, and this weirdly specific local history. It turns out none of this is random. It's all part of one big, very clever strategy. The key to this entire puzzle is something called search engine optimization, or SEO. All it really means is building your website in a very specific way to convince search engines, like Google, that your page is the absolute best and most useful answer to whatever someone is searching for. So here's the playbook. That title is stuffed with keywords like plumber near me to catch those exact searches. The giant lists of services and products are there, so if someone searches for something super specific, this site shows up. The list of towns is to catch all the local searches. And the history of Wilmette? That is the master stroke. It turns the site into an authority on all things Wilmette, making Google think it must be the best result for anyone in that town who's looking for a plumber. And that's really what it all boils down to. This website wasn't really built for a human with a leaky pipe. It's a machine, carefully engineered to be perfectly understood and loved by the computer programs that decide who gets to be number one on Google. It's a website written for a machine first and a person second. Which leaves us with a much bigger question to think about, right? In this constant battle for our attention online, how much of what you're reading is actually written for you, and how much of it is engineered just like this site, perfectly optimized to please an algorithm? It really makes you wonder who the real audience is for so much of the internet we use every single day.